Hello everybody, it's Stephen Howson, and there's another thing that I've seen in the paper quite a lot over the last couple of days, and it's two things really, and they're related. One is that the Sun are saying that Ed Woodward has asked Mourinho to wait another year and let Louis Van Gaal see out his contract, and the other one is that Louis Van Gaal is going to see out his contract if he gets top four and wins the FA Cup for Manchester United, and some also saying that he will do it regardless. Whether we get top four or win the FA Cup or not, that Louis Van Gaal will see his contract out regardless. I'm going to kick off by saying, not the worst idea ever. And the reason I'll say not the worst idea ever is sometimes it's a bit better the devil you know, isn't it? Louis Van Gaal is probably aware of the problems. Everyone's saying he's a dumbass and this, that and the other. I think that's incredibly disrespectful. I don't think he's a dumbass. I'm not sure he fully knew what to expect for the Premier League. I think it probably took him a step back a little bit, but I think he had moderate success in his first season. I think injuries and poor squad management hit us hard in the second season, and it was a 3-season project for him. So now he's aware of his squad, now he's aware of his players, and now you would hope he's aware of what's missing. I think that if we did give him a third season, it would not be the worst thing in the world, because it was a 3-year project. Now, he might have had things in place to come into effect in the third season. People talk about he's stubborn and he's rigid and this, that and the other, but if you look at the evolution of Manchester United's play since Louis Van Gaal's been in charge, you actually see that there has been a progression about every 4 or 5 months in either the formation, the style, or the attitude of our play. It's changed every few months and it's evolved, and the most recent iteration was after all the defeats and that in December. We are playing a little bit more free. We're still not playing quite the tempo and sheer cutthroat play that we've seen on both of the pre-seasons, which was strange. Both of the pre-seasons, we absolutely tore Madrid to pieces in his first season. I think we tore Barcelona to pieces last summer. So we've seen that Manchester United, under Louis Van Gaal, can have the shackles taken off and just fucking ruin teams. But we don't see it in the league. In the league, there definitely seems to be this sort of conservative style of play. Maybe in the third season, we might see Louis Van Gaal completely take the reins off and play the style of football that we know he's capable of letting the team play, and we know that he knows that the team knows how to play, because he's done it twice on both of the tours. You remember the first tour, that game at the Big House with Real Madrid, and I think it was Rooney and Welbeck and Mata, and some of the one-touch football, I've got a gif of it somewhere, because it was absolutely phenomenal. We shredded Real Madrid, and it wasn't Real Madrid's B team, it was Real Madrid with Ronaldo and all of their top players, and I think they was European champions at the time, correct me if I'm wrong. And then last summer we tore Barcelona to pieces, and I think it was Jesse Lingard finished off the goal, which started off, I'm sure there was like 4 or 5 academy players in the mix of it. I think it started with Tyler Blackett, I think Januzaj and Wilson was involved, and Lingard put it away. I could be wrong on that, but it was something along those lines. Entire Manchester United academy just tore Barcelona to pieces with one touch, fast flowing, quick movement, awesome football. So if Louis Van Gaal did stay for his third season, and Manchester United do manage to sign it, because there's a lot of caveats in me saying that I would accept this. One of them being that Les Bertra comes in and we can start planning for the future, because that guy seems to me like he knows his shit. Look at where Atletico Madrid are at the moment. Phenomenal for a club on their sort of budget. You know, you think Leicester are doing well by winning the Premier League. Well, look at what Atletico Madrid are doing by winning the Liga against two of the biggest budgets in world football, Barcelona and Real Madrid, and you got Atletico Madrid able to weasel their way in, get past them and get to Champions League finals twice. Unbelievable. And some of that's down to Simeone, some of that's down to the players, but some of that is down to this fella, Bertra, the sporting director. So if we manage to sign him, that's a fucking hell of a signing, and I actually wouldn't really care too much who's manager next season if we manage to sign him. I think he's the key signing for the summer, as long as David De Gea stays as well. I think that's 2 real key ones for us. So the arguments for Louis Van Gaal going, they're long, they're fucking well worn in, and you all know them. And I'm still pretty confident that Mourinho is going to come in. So despite what I've just said, where I would be happy is not the word, I would be alright with it. I'm not going to riot, I'm not going to fucking pitchfork it. It's not in my nature anyway to do that sort of stuff. But I would not be devastated to see Louis Van Gaal come in. Stay in under those circumstances next year, if we did see that, and if we signed the right sort of players. Like, I do think we need a centre half, despite how well Daley Blind's done. I do think we need a right winger just to balance out that front line. And the talk of Griezmann, the Kante thing, Kante's got this stupidly low buyout clause. If we got a box-to-box energetic midfielder like that in Kante, I would fucking love it. I would absolutely love it to bits. So if we can get that sort of thing going on, then I think if Louis Van Gaal stayed, would not be the worst thing in the world. We are evolving how we play. We are seeing the signs of us doing something. We've always done well against the big teams. We just need that little bit of imagination, that little bit of genius against the smaller teams. And if we can sort that out, then we're going to fucking swat teams aside. Simple as that. Now, the other argument is Jose Mourinho comes in. Now, this is the unknown quantity. This is the, sometimes, like I said, it's better the devil you know. Well, this is the devil that we sort of know, but we don't know. So we know that Jose Mourinho is going to come in. We know that he doesn't like youth. We know that he needs a load of cash. We know that he pisses everybody off. We know that he's got a very rigid style of system. We know that he works his players incredibly hard, but we also know that he's a winner. He doesn't like losing at home. He doesn't lose at home very often, but he will shit-can some world-class players. Now, who's going to be the world-class players at Manchester United to fall foul of Jose Mourinho's reign? We've seen it at every single club that he's gone to. There'll be a world-class player that fans love that's going to end up on the shit side of Jose Mourinho for what on the outside looks like no fucking reason whatsoever. Is it David De Gea? What a nightmare that'd be. Is it Anthony Martial? Does he not track back or work hard enough? Because Martial's pretty fucking lazy if you watch him. He's very energy efficient, should we say. He does the bare minimum and comes alive when he gets the ball. Now, I'm alright with that. I think that's what you need out your forward players. I'm happy for my forward players to stand there with their hands in their pocket, texting, fannying about, doing stuff like that until the ball comes to them, as long as they come alive and deliver the goods. I don't think Jose Mourinho is the same. I think Jose Mourinho demands that his teams are a unit that all have the same sort of work rate. Didier Drogba was never the best striker in the world, but under Jose Mourinho, under Chelsea, they were formidable. So what are you going to get with Mourinho? Is he going to get rid of him? Is he going to jettison Memphis Depay, who is a player that I think needs a cuddle? And by the same rule, Jose Mourinho also manages to turn some players into players that will run through absolute brick walls for him. Now, maybe Memphis is the guy that could do that. Mourinho comes in, puts a lot of faith in him, says the right words to him, puts his arm around him, and tells him he's the greatest thing ever. And he's going to get 10 games uninterrupted, go make mistakes, but go and put that ball in the back of the net, and he does it. Then you could see the evolution of Memphis Depay into the player that we thought we were signing. It's interesting. So, what do we get? Do we get Mourinho? Or do we get Louis Van Gaal for the final season? I'm sure the decision's already been made. I'm pretty certain Ed Woodward's not sat at home now tossing a coin deciding whether we go left or we go right on this. I'm pretty sure, like I've been sure for months, that Jose Mourinho's coming in. And I think all of the talk that you see in the papers is just the same sort of stuff that we saw when Guardiola was about to be announced at City. There was a little flurry that United had gone and met him in Paris, and there was little bits here and there, and I think that's just people deliberately leaking things to the press to try and throw people off the scent. I mean, Jesus Christ, the Manchester Evening News have told us that he's already bought his house in Manchester. He's already scouted 5 or 6 players. He's already told us who's going. He's already decided who's coming in. He's done all of this stuff. I think it's going to be exactly the same as when Guardiola was announced at City, when everyone went, yeah or no? And I think that's what's going to happen. Like, Jose Mourinho's a new United manager, we're going to go, yeah or no? It's not going to be a shock to anybody. And I think these leaks to the contrary, people buying into them are just taking the bait that the papers want, really. Trying to throw you off the scent that this is fucking happening. And it's going to happen. And I do feel a little bit sorry for Louis Van Gaal, because he has had a rough ride. And at the Player of the Year Awards the other night, he said, like, when we was top of the league, he was still having a go at us at the start of this season, constantly looking to undermine him. If you remember in his first season when we signed Di Maria or we signed Falcao and we sold Welbeck, what was we told? We was told that Manchester United had forgotten our roots and that we turned our back on the heritage of Manchester United and playing youth. Louis Van Gaal, in the couple of years that he's been here, has surpassed what Sir Alex did in his last 10 in terms of bringing through youth, giving youngsters their chance. The sheer number of academy players that he's given his debut to, and you got to remember that the MK Dons game, we saw a lot of players come and play and then shipped off, and I'm happy with that, because the same way that you need to jettison some of the surplus in the first team, you've also got to jettison some of the surplus in the under-21s and under-18s, because not all them kids are going to make it. And that's the idea. You come in, you get into the first team, and you sink or you swim. Now, there's some players I was a little bit upset to go. Sage Yanko, I think, probably would have played a lot of games this season for us if he'd have stayed around, because he was a bit of a tank of a right back. But he's gone, and he was one of the players that played at MK Dons and got tore a new arsehole by the likes of Dele Alli. So these players that are 18s, 21s, and they just don't get enough game time in the first team, and when they do, you find that they're not good enough. And I think Louis Van Gaal saw that, because he did a lot of debuts and a lot of them got binned. So I don't think the players that have been given debuts this season are going to get binned. The only one that I think could, or there's two that I think could, is James Weir, just because of his age, and Joe Rothwell, again, just because of his age. I think both of them lads, at this stage in their career, need to start getting first-team games. And I'm pretty sure they've got Premier League players in them. I'm just not sure that they're Manchester United players, first-team players. So I reckon them two are probably going to go. But the rest of them, Cameron, Riley, Rashford, Fosu Mensah, all of them boys, I think they're going to be first team players at Manchester United. I think they're going to stick around, I think they're going to cause havoc, and I think they're going to put a lot of pressure on some players in the first team who are coasting. And I hope Cameron Borthwick-Jackson's another one who gets to play against Norwich on Saturday, because Rojo for me is a player that is not doing it at left back. Don't mind him at centre half, but left back is not the position for him. So there you go, that's my little thoughts on Louis Van Gaal for another season. How I think it would go down. I don't actually think it's going to happen, but that's how I think it would go down, and I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world. Again, I think it's probably going to be Mourinho, but time is going to tell after all, isn't it? So again, thank you for watching. Stick it in the comments below what you guys think. Hit me up with a subscribe if you don't mind. Check out the website for anything. Did you check the podcast out from last night? If not, go check it out. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. See you soon.